What's up? I'm B and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be evaluating an up-and-coming men's conference to take a look at the price points, what's included, who the hosts are, and determine is this more of a gift or a grift, I suppose that you could say. And I've done this with multiple conferences in the past, such as the retreats hosted by Brittany Dawn, Tony Robbins, Rachel Hollis. We've gone over them before. I like digging into them and seeing if this thing is actually worth your time, effort, and money. And spoiler alert, more often than not, they are not worth those things, but we're going to give everybody a fair chance here. From February 4th through the 6th, Dave Hollis and Wade King will be hosting the Congruent conference in Dripping Springs, Texas. We've talked about Dave Hollis before. We know he's not my favorite character, to say the least, but I've never heard of Wade King before, so let's go ahead and learn a little bit about him first, and then we will get into what's actually going on with this conference. Wade King is a self-proclaimed educator, author, and speaker, and he has just over 51,000 followers on Instagram. He is also the COO of another company called Get Your Teach On, and from what I can tell, it's kind of like professional development for teachers. They go to different conferences, they give speeches, and they have a merch line where they sell $80 sweatshirts. They being Wade King, of course, and his wife, Hope. I don't know much about Wade's theology. Scrolling through his Instagram, there's a lot of posts related to teaching and taking care of children and making sure kind of that we focus on the emotional health of kids, especially those in underserved communities, and so that's promising, but I can't say that I would necessarily trust anybody who decides to link arms with Dave Hollis because of what we know about him and how he behaves. You know, it's not even a matter of like, I think there's a flaw, like a fatal flaw in your theology or in the way you believe and practice your religion. It's just literally as a person, there's so much about Dave Hollis that I have an issue with. From what I can see, the conference isn't necessarily religion-based or focused on growing in your faith specifically, and so that kind of gives them a point in my book because I wouldn't trust Dave Hollis as a religious leader. That's just me, and I don't know many other men in my life who look at Dave and say like, wow, I want to be like him. Like, he is a great spiritual leader, and he's doing good things, and he's living out his faith in a way that I admire. So we're okay there. It's more on focusing on yourself, where you're at, determining how you're going to get to where you need to go, and figuring out where it is that you do need to go. Something interesting though is that Dave Hollis hasn't really posted about this on Instagram at all. I guess yesterday they announced a special surprise speaker and they were doing this countdown. Well, Wade was talking a lot about it. Didn't see anything from Dave, although he did repost the announcement of who the surprise speaker was, so he's definitely involved. I mean, Dave's all over the website. He's in the pictures. I don't understand why he's not promoting it more, but it seems like all he really wants to focus on Instagram is his book club, as well as Heidi's new fitness challenge that he's also taking the lead on. So that's just kind of interesting, I would think, especially with this conference less than a month away. You would really want to be pushing this and promoting it, making sure people know why it's something that they should attend, why they should care about it, why they should sign up, because your name is on this, your face is on this. But he hasn't really posted about it from what I can see. I'm not in Dave Hollis's stories every day, but there is nothing on his actual feed that I could find related to it. So the time has come. We're going to take a look at the website for the Congruent conference, talk about the schedule a little bit. Y'all know a common theme with these influencer workshops, retreats, conferences, whatever, is that it's 3 days, the 4th through the 6th, and it's a lot of money. Here we have the website for the Congruent conference. You can see it's February 4th through the 6th of 2022. There's Dave, there's Wade. Let's get to the event details. It's time to prioritize what's truly important. Acknowledging who you are now is vital to becoming the best version of yourself. Being congruent allows us to find and establish integrity in an ever-changing world. Join Dave Hollis and Wade King for an all-new multi-day retreat designed to inspire, motivate, and help you become the best father, husband, brother, and friend you can be. And you can see the location information. It's at a place called Camp Lucy in Dripping Springs, Texas. This is apparently in like the heart of Texas wine country, which does sound very interesting to me. I didn't even know Texas had a wine country, but now I want to go. And so we have the lodging portion. You have to schedule this separately. So if you look right here where it says click here to book your room, you click that hyperlink and it takes you to the Camp Lucy website. But those dates are completely blocked out. You cannot make a reservation online for those dates. And so in my head, I was like, well, hold on, because let's scroll down. At the very bottom, there's attendee information, and spoiler alert, general admission is $500 and VIP admission is $800 for February 4th through the 6th, not including your travel, but we'll get to everything that this includes. You can put all of your info in, and you have a service fee of $17. It says I agree to the conference terms and conditions, which does state this is a non-refundable ticket. And so you put all your billing info in and you submit it like you are buying your ticket, and then you have to book a room. So you're paying separately, from what I can tell, for the room. And presumably they have a group rate, like they've blocked off this section of rooms for you to go. You know, I'm assuming you're not going to be paying an unreasonable amount, but it doesn't say how much it costs to actually stay at Camp Lucy. The whole reason I got on this tangent was the dates are blocked out. I'm wondering, are y'all still selling tickets if all your rooms are full? So I called Camp Lucy and I asked the person that I spoke to at the reservation desk, oh, I'm thinking about buying this ticket, but it says that we can't get any of these dates online. So I'm wondering if I have to call and reserve it or if you guys are booked. And he's like, it looks like we're full. I'm not seeing anything available. Give me your name and like your callback number and I'll have one of our account managers call you back. And I was like, oh no, like that's fine. If you don't have any rooms available, that's totally fine. I just, I'm thinking about buying this ticket for my husband. And hey, you do what you gotta do. I don't condone lying, but if it's in the name of journalism and exposing the truth, sometimes you gotta be a little fishy. But anyway, I was like, I'm thinking about buying this for my husband, but I just wanted to make sure that rooms were still available. And if you're telling me that they're not, that's totally fine. And he's like, well, I don't know. I mean, it looks like these rooms are blocked off for that group code, but there's nobody in them yet. And so I'm like, okay, at first it was that none of the rooms are available, but now it's, they're blocked out specifically for us, but nobody's been assigned a room yet. Not for us, because obviously I'm not going to this conference, but for people who are going, no one's been assigned to a room. I'm hoping that they have some kind of system where they're waiting to assign rooms, but they're still keeping a tally on how many tickets have been sold. I can only imagine that they would be, but the fact that I got told kind of two different things from somebody who works at this hotel is just kind of odd to me. But anyway, if you're going, you're going to have to call and make your reservation separate. You cannot do it online. So for those of you with phone anxiety, that's just something to be aware of. Now for the conference agenda. So on February 4th, that's a Friday. If you work a Monday through Friday job, that's going to be a travel day for you. You're probably going to have to take that day off work because if you're flying into Texas or if you're local, maybe you just get off a little bit early. Anyway, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. is registration. And then 8 to 9 is a VIP welcome reception. So like we saw down below, there's just a general admission and there's VIP admission. So if you're just general, you just register and you're kind of on your own for the evening. But VIP welcome reception is where VIP attendees can join Dave, Wade, and other members of the Congruent team for a welcome reception and networking event at Camp Lucy on Friday night. Moving to Saturday, February 5th. Where you are. 7 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. Optional wellness activities. Your mind and body work in parallel. Join Heidi Heidi Powell! What a shock. I'm stunned that she would be there. Bruce Pitcher and the Congruent team for an optional morning workout to jumpstart your day. And then 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., which that's giving you 15 minutes to shower and get ready, which is male privilege, if I ever heard it. The fact that they are assuming and probably correct about the fact that most men only need 15 minutes to get ready, it's bonkers. I'm jealous, but whatever. VIP continental breakfast. VIP attendees will enjoy a light continental breakfast and coffee with their peers prior to the start of our morning keynotes. Now, you'll notice, VIP attendees, General admission, you're on your own for breakfast. Suck it. Something I will give this conference is that the breakdown of the schedule is very detailed. This is nothing like Brittany Dawn's conference where it's just like, here's a general idea and you'll know who the speakers are sooner or later. Like, they haven't given specific details of everyone who's speaking, but like for the keynotes with this one from 9 to 10:45, it's welcome keynote with Dave Hollis. And they give you the topic of Dave's keynote speech, which is Closing the Gap by Dave Hollis. We need to get honest with where we are, clear on where we're going, and detailed about what it's going to take to get there. That vision of who we're meant to become requires closing the gaps that might exist between how we're showing up and how we're showing up now and how we need to show up to get there. So I appreciate that. They're giving you kind of a breakdown. Not sure if I would trust Dave to lead me in that topic, but fair enough. 10:45 to 12, small group discussion and recap. Yes, if you watch my Brittany Dawn video, my most recent one, I said, why are there no small group activities? I want to see some small group activities. That is where a lot of good digging and growing takes place. So we've got small group discussions and recap, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. lunch, and lunch is included with every registration, thankfully. At least you're getting some food if you don't shell out the $800 for the VIP ticket. Then we've got 1 p.m. to 1:45, afternoon keynote with Wade King. And so it gives you the title, Pillars of Purpose by Wade King. Research shows that those who live long and meaningful lives all have something in common. Unbreakable Pillars, the guide, what they do. I didn't even catch that the first time I went through the schedule. Unbreakable Pillars, the guide, what they do, and how they live. Wade will break down his 4 pillars of purpose and how you can implement them in your life. Time will be allotted for us to discuss these in our small groups. 1:45 to 3, living room discussion panel. We'll close out the afternoon keynote portion of the day with our living room discussion with a panel of leaders and experts in their fields. We'll then break into our small groups to continue the discussions and create action plans for our own lives. Honestly, this sounds like an overall decent schedule so far. I don't like that general admission tickets are not getting breakfast, and you'll see they don't get dinner either tonight. But like conference-wise, content-wise, it sounds decent. 3 to 5, they've got retreat activities such as archery and hatchet throwing, which sounds very fun. And then 5:15 to 5:45, they have closing messages. And so they're just going to talk about the topics covered throughout the day and prepare for day 2. 6:30 to 7, there's a VIP networking reception. And then 7 p.m. to 8:30, VIP dinner. VIP guests will close out the first day with a family-style dinner to discuss topics from the day and to continue discussions from the networking reception. So that's their full day on Saturday. And then Sunday is the day that everybody is leaving, but surprisingly, it is still pretty full of activities. I'm assuming that they're anticipating a lot of local people coming to this retreat as opposed to people from different states, because they do have it pretty packed full, which I do appreciate because it makes it feel like you're maybe getting more of your money's worth than if it was just like breakfast, speaker, bye. You're actually getting a decent amount of content and development on this day. So again, from 7 a.m. to 7:45, you've got those wellness activities. 8 to 9, VIP continental breakfast. 9 to 12, morning keynote with Anthony Trucks, who is a former NFL athlete, American Ninja Warrior on NBC, international speaker, host of the Awe Shift podcast, and the founder of Identity Shift Coaching. He uses cutting-edge science and psychology to upgrade how you operate so you can elevate your life and business to reach your full potential. After being given away into foster care at 3 years old, being adopted into an all-white family at 14, losing his NFL career to injury, and more, he learned how to shift at a very young age, and now his life mission is teaching others how to make shift happen in their lives. Honestly, that sounds like a talk that I would actually be interested in. So then we've got 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. lunch, which is included with every registration. 1 p.m. to 3:45 activities like cornhole and more. 4 to 4:30 closing keynote. We'll wrap up the 2-day retreat with closing sessions from our speakers to leave you feeling inspired, motivated, and with the tools in your toolbox to jump feet first into 2022. Then we've got 4:30 to 5 p.m. closing small group discussions. Love it. They're going to have a final discussion and create personal action plans. And then 5 p.m. to 5:30 closing messages, winners, and action plan. We'll be keeping score all weekend, and we'll use this time to announce winners, give away prizes, and say farewell. I'm not sure what they're keeping score of, if it's like the outdoor activities or how much you participated in small group discussions. I have no idea, but cool. Who doesn't like a competition other than me and other non-competitive people in the world, because I just want everybody to have a good time. And then at the bottom, you can see all registrations are final and deposits are non-refundable. And just because we are in a panoramic, I had the thought of like, well, what if somebody gets COVID? Like, do they have an exception for that? Would they let you cancel if that were to arise? If you were to take a test before you go, oh, I've got it, I don't want to infect anybody, can I cancel? No, you cannot. And they do have a little section about COVID where they talk about how facial coverings are recommended and they will be practicing social distancing, but there's nothing about if you get sick. There's no allowance for that, which honestly I think they should do that, because if you're somebody who has paid several $100s for this ticket, you've booked your room, you've got travel plans, like you took time off work, whatever it may be, you've put money into this, and if you're feeling kind of coughy, kind of achy the day before the event, you might just write it off and be like, oh, it's a cold. Like, it's just a cold, I'm not sick, or, I'm just getting kind of nervous, it's just a little bug, I'm not sick. And I think some people might just ignore that, not get a test, because if they get that positive test and they decide to go anyway, they're going to feel bad. But if they can ignore it, they'll write it off, and maybe they do have COVID, but they won't be feeling bad about it all weekend. And they'll say, well, everybody agreed that like they accepted this risk by coming. Even in the terms and conditions, it says, however, organizer cannot guarantee its participants, employees, partners, speakers, volunteers, contractors, and others in attendance will not become infected with COVID-19, which obviously they cannot guarantee that. But I think as an organizer, you would want to minimize that if you could. So maybe make an allowance for people who test positive for COVID. Just a thought. In any case, back to that last day, like I said, it's basically a full day. You're going until 5:30 p.m. I appreciate that. It doesn't feel like as much of a ripoff as if you were to be leaving in the morning. So then the last thing I just wanted to go over was what all is included in each ticket. Obviously, we know a little bit about it, but let's just hear it straight from the horse's mouth. We've got general admission for $500. Registration includes access to 2 days of keynote presentations, choice of outdoor team building activities. Examples include axe throwing, hiking, martial arts, and more, lunch and snacks on each full day, swag, and more. So you get a t-shirt. Cool. And then your VIP admission is $800. And this says the ultimate VIP experience includes everything in a general admission ticket, plus additional activities, exclusive networking, event, and dinner. Signed copy of Dave's new book. Yay, we all know how well that book is doing. Admission also includes access to online learning content from Dave and Wade. This option has an extremely limited capacity to provide an intimate and exclusive experience. $800 for like 2.5 days of a conference. I really don't even need to say much more than that. I mean, of course, money is subjective. What's a lot of money for somebody might not be a lot of money for somebody else. However, $800 just seems outrageous to me, and I feel like most of you are going to agree that it's outrageous. And again, from what I can tell, that doesn't even include lodging. If it did, it would say it on the website, like this ticket includes lodging, and you wouldn't have to go book a room yourself. You wouldn't have to go to the Camp Lucy website and book a room using that group code. Like, you could easily be spending $1,000 to do this, to go to this 2.5 day conference. And just for our own knowledge, I went to their website to book a different night. I, selected that I would be checking in on Friday the 11th. It didn't let me pick a departure date. I don't know what that's about, but let's check our room availability. Average nightly rate, $369 for a 2-queen bedroom. So I guess if you're splitting it with somebody, like, that's not unreasonable for a boutique hotel, but that is definitely an added expense if you're staying there for 2 nights. And if you're going by yourself, we've got a Treetop King for $369 a night, roughly. And on top of all that, you're gonna have to bring your own food for breakfast and dinner, which I just think is ridiculous. You shouldn't have to leave a conference to get food or like order Uber Eats when you've already paid this much money to attend a conference. I do not understand Why? Like, why would that not be included? Because you want to have the VIP networking events? Okay, great. Have that in a separate room. I really, I can't comprehend having guests for a conference and not feeding them breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. There's a restaurant on site called Tilly's, which is, it has boutique hotel pricing. There's a few different restaurants that are about 10 minutes away, so that's not bad. But I feel like having to do that kind of takes away from being in that group setting, being in that conference setting. You have to go plan on where you're gonna eat and like go get fast food or go somewhere, which overall, like the fact that you have to go get food, or maybe you and a group of guys are gonna go out to a bar one night, like that in and of itself is not really a huge deal, because that could be a fun thing. But when you've already paid this much money and now you're having to pay even more to go get yourself breakfast and dinner, I just don't understand the logic behind that. So in any case, that's the conference that Dave will be taking part in hosting in the up and coming weeks. To answer the question of is it a gift or a grift, I think we very well know that it is definitely a grift. I really cannot fathom the thought of charging people exorbitant amounts of money in order to help them. I really can't. And I get it. People pay a lot of money for things that mean a lot to them. There are people that I follow who have paid $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to get into masterminds and to be in the container of knowledge and in that high vibrational space. And I'm not trying to diminish the importance of working on yourself and making sure that you are mentally healthy and you're in an environment with like-minded people who are going to encourage you to be better. That is really important. But to charge the average person close to $1,000 for a weekend, it seems like you're taking advantage of people's desire to be better, to be successful, and to get where they want in life. And as always, I understand that people have costs when they put on conferences or retreats like this. I don't want people to lose money. I want them to be able to cover their costs, to make their salary, all that good stuff. But there's a way to do it where you are not gouging the pockets of the people that you are claiming you want to help. So to make a long story short, I would not recommend this conference. First and foremost, you got that Dave Hollis red flag. Anything he is involved in is soiled by his perceived, from my end, narcissism, the amount of development that I think he still needs to do on himself, the fact that we know all the ways he treated Rachel in their marriage and before they got married, which I don't like Rachel either, but I definitely think he took advantage of her naivety when they first met, and he used it as a license to treat her like garbage. And it seems like that didn't really improve. You know, they're both problematic. I don't like either of them. We saw him lose his cool because his book tour and his book sales were not going the way that he wanted. We saw him ignore his kids repeatedly for hours in this somewhat manic state, and I just wouldn't want to be involved in anything that Dave Hollis has his hands in, because it's tainted with the toxicity that exists within him. And I know that that sounds harsh, but if you're trying to improve yourself, you probably want to be around people who inspire you to be better and inspire you in the way that they live and their confidence, the way that they lead their lives. Somebody that you can look up to and say like, wow, you're doing amazing things. Somebody that I would want to look up to, like thinking of a woman that I would want to look up to. I would want a woman that I look up to or that I learned from to be confident in who she is. I want her to have a kind heart. I want her to have healthy relationship dynamics with her partner and her friends. I want to see somebody who is confident and teachable and kind and competent in the things that she does. And I don't feel like that's how Dave presents himself. So that's just me. As always, that is just my opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. What do you think of this conference? Do you think you're getting the value for your money? Is it something that you would ever go to, or like buy a ticket for a man in your life to go to and encourage them to go run and participate? The axe throwing does sound kind of cool. I'm not going to lie about that. That sounds pretty awesome. But other than that, nah. So leave those comments down below telling me what you think of the conference and this video. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you're subscribed already, Thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. As a reminder, there will be links down below related to the disappearance of Daniel Robinson. There's a link to donate to the search efforts for Daniel. There's a link to volunteer to participate in searches for him, and there is a link to the petition to change his case from a missing persons investigation to a criminal investigation. So go check all those out. I would really appreciate it. And with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one.